be very competitive. I'm competitive, but with myself.
Yeah.
Because in this industry, you can't really necessarily burn your bridges. You need to make a deal. So when I show the potential buyer, like everything we have to offer, they see my passion shine through. So you can never feel too nervous or hesitant about anything. I think people need to just go for it. You just never know.
Hello and welcome to the Realist Conversations podcast, where we have the cream of the crop, the best and the brightest real estate professionals of the Houston area. And today we have the beautiful Zuleima.
Hi.
Welcome, Zuleima. Thank you so much for coming on the
Absolutely.
podcast. We are so excited to have you here.
I'm excited.
Yay.
Yeah. First time. I may talk too much, girl.
Let's get it. Let's get it. People love hearing stories. Our audience is mainly other agents. Sometimes we have my mom on there. Hey, mom. No, I'm just kidding. Sometimes we have just past clients reaching out to our guest and saying like, hey, I heard your story. I love your story. So
That is super
so
cool.
you're reaching out to a huge audience here of people. And we are so excited to be able to share your story. So Zuleima Cossio.
Yes.
Tell me, first of all, where is that name from? Is it Italian or what is that?
You know, it's really weird. There's a lot of like mystery behind my name. My first name for sure. My mom really loved an Argentinian actress from a novela.
Oh.
And her name is Zuleima. Zuleima is more common than Zuleima. And she just decided to add the I and make my name more difficult to pronounce.
No, I love it, Zuleima.
But she gave me that name, and not that I ever hated it, but I did get bullied, obviously,
For
in
the
school.
Zuleima name?
Yeah. Like people just couldn't, pronounce it. And kids are cruel, man. Like,
Yes,
I mean, we are really mean when we're
About it.
kids. So I got bullied throughout school with my name. They would like not say it right, or they would say like zucchini, zebra. I'm
Yes.
like, you
Were
guys are
you-
so creative. Oh my
Yes.
God. Thanks for saying other Z words. Like, I mean, but yeah, so I would just get like bullied for my name, but I didn't think much of it.
Were you raised in Houston or?
Born and raised in Galveston.
In
So
Galveston,
yes,
okay.
and both of my parents are Mexican. So that's why like when people meet me, and then especially if they're from like other ethnic backgrounds, they kind of look at me like, so what are you?
Yeah.
And I've always gotten that. They're like, so are you this or are you that? And I'm like,
That
no,
is
I'm
hilarious.
just from Galveston. I'm Mexican. Like, that's
Wow, I
it.
love
But
that.
our last name is also not a very common like last name or a common Mexican name.
Yeah, that's what my question was from.
Yeah, so it's interesting. I mean, my dad's side, not to get too deep, but he just never met his dad. But he decided when he came to the States that he would take his last name. Not sure why. Haven't talked to him about it, but he decided to take Cossio. So either Cossio or Cossio. I don't know. I may not even say
What
it
do
right.
you say?
I say Cossio. I like
Cossio, I say
Cossio.
Cossio.
And so that's that. And I kind of searched my name a bit, like our last name, and I've seen people, Cubans have it. I've seen some Colombianos have Cossio. And then I had people ask me, is that Italian? And I'm like, I don't think so. It sounds like it could be, but I don't think it is.
No.
I don't think it is. But yeah, it's interesting.
love
it might be
it.
a
Yeah.
Latin American name for
Somewhere.
sure.
Yeah.
From
Well,
somewhere.
Thank you so much for that.
Yeah.
That story about your name. But I bet you get a lot of people asking about it. So now you can refer them to
Yes, it was a
as an
little bit of a
explanation.
blessing in disguise because I used to really, like I said, I was bullied for it. But then when it came down to college and all of that, that was kind of my icebreaker.
Yeah.
Yeah. So people would be like, so where's that from?
Yeah.
It would lead to a conversation. So I really do love my name and I
Yay.
will never change it for the world.
Yay, I love that. I love that. Okay, so tell us where your journey starts as a real estate agent. I know you haven't been doing real estate for since after high school or college or whatever. Tell me where you got started if you want to a little bit before that.
Oh, yeah. So real estate, I started in January. I got licensed in January of 2021. But the way I came about it is just very interesting. So I graduated Texas State. I graduated from Texas State, and with a degree that, of course, I'm not using now. I mean, that's
Welcome
kind of,
to the club.
I know. I think there's many of us out there doing that.
Yeah.
And I wanted to do fashion. I was such a fashion girl.
I can tell.
I was living the Delulu life. I was
Yeah.
like, wait, I'm going to live in New York. I'm going to be in
my
Fashion Week and, working for magazines and Vogue. I had this delusional.
That's a big dream.
Yeah, I had big dreams, but dreams become reality. And reality kind of smacks you in the face, because I then started finding out that fashion is really a hard industry to break into, especially in that part of it, like doing the styling and doing like the photo shoots and the backstage of it. You don't really get paid for that, like unless you're somebody, and you do a lot of free work.
Yeah.
And so when I started doing a lot of like fashion shows and productions and things like that, I was like hustling, man. At some point in my senior year of Texas State, I was maybe doing my internship and doing maybe 3 or 4 jobs.
Wow.
I don't know how, but I was just doing that, and then doing the fashion shows here and there, and taping shoes so they don't get scuffed. And it was just interesting, and it was a lot. And it just was not getting to the point where I thought I was, going to get to. And then when I thought about, wait, if I move to LA, cost of living in LA, like you no longer like, you're a grown up. You don't have a safety net. So you got to really consider these things. And then same with, where's the other capital of fashion? New York. And New York just as expensive. So I had to kind of reel back that, dream and really come down to the realization that like, okay, I am now an adult. I'm graduating. I got bills to pay.
Yeah.
I have to find a job. And so the retail just came with it, because I was with a fashion merchandising degree. I wanted to become a buyer at a corporate job, but I wanted to start with a company. And I landed with Nordstrom. And Nordstrom's a great company. They are. And it was awesome, all the experience I got from working there. But, I entered that space when retail was kind of on the down. Yeah. So it was, fast forward, I was with Nordstrom maybe like, 5-6 years. Oh. And I decided, okay, well, the corporate job's not coming. They're laying people off. What's my next step? And I start kind of freaking out. And then I'm like, okay, well, let me come back to Houston, because I was living in Austin. So I come back to Houston. I'm still working at Nordstrom at the Galleria. I'm in sales. I decided to do the sales because I dropped down from my management position. So I was a manager in Nordstrom, and I decided I'm just going to do sales. So I don't have to worry about managing people, And my first day at Houston Galleria, I sold a $30,000 ring. Oh my! It was a yellow diamond ring, and to this day, I still remember the client. I still remember everything about it. And like, of course, the store manager was super happy to have me. He was like, "Hey, like, you clearly know your stuff." And and from there, it was just Nordstrom was a really great store, especially that location, to network, to meet, and kind of harvest relationships there. Because my clients that were buying jewelry from me, they would buy fine jewelry, watches, things like that. And those are the people at some point, clearly they have the income to just spend on $3,000 worth of, things that they just picked up for the day. And so I met a gentleman that actually he's the president of the company, and it was a real estate company. Oh. And I don't know if I can say can I say the company's name?
I don't know.
Okay, I'll just say it. Tarantino Properties. Okay. So I met Mr. Tarantino. Wow. And I mean, I was like, that sounds like a director's name, right? There's a director like with the Tarantino name, but yeah, Tarantino Properties. And he was like, I helped him pick out jewelry for his lady, I don't know, wife, special friend. And he was just like floored with like the way I sold him on the stuff. And he was just like, is this what you want to do? Yeah. And I kind of like was taken aback. I'm like, no one ever asked me that. And I'm like, no, this is not what I want to do. I am not happy here. And he was like, give me your card or here's my card and send me your resume and I will send it to my HR person. And I was like, what am I going to do at your company? I don't have a license. He was like, you can worry about that later. We'll put you in leasing or something. His company has like commercial, senior living, apartments. He's all over. When I researched him, I'm like, oh my God, like he's like legit. And he's like, he's everywhere.
Yeah.
So I was just like, oh my God, I'm so excited. I was fired up. I was like, this is my ticket out. Cause I wasn't landing any jobs for some reason. And I felt like I was like, is there something wrong with me? Like I graduated, I have a degree. I did well, you know, why am I not landing any corporate jobs? So it was tough. And, you know, these are doors that I just felt like just kept getting shut in my face. And I just felt like, when is my break? Yeah. So this is when I thought my break was happening, right? And I was so excited. I send my resume over and, you know, they start telling me like the HR lady that she's going to onboard me. And I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. This was in 2020. Oh, like right
January, February.
Yeah. And so I still remember the day that I got the call. And I was in Galveston at Mod and the cute little patio that they have there. And, you know, all the swirling news of COVID and, you know, what was going on in China and all this stuff. And I'm like, man, that is scary. And I was over there like planning my trip to Colombia for my birthday, like super excited. And then on my way back to my car, I get the phone call and it's from the HR person. And she's like, hey, we can no longer move with your position. And I'm like just my stomach dropped because I thought that was my shot. I thought that was my ticket out of retail. Finally, like
Had you already resigned from Nordstrom?
No, not yet, okay. Which was good. But I was just like, what? And I was like, what are you talking? She was like, well, with COVID going on, I'm also like, she also was going to lose her job. Wow. And then, of course, that's when the news broke. Everyone shut down. Everything just, you know, froze. It was so weird. I cannot believe we went through that. And it just happened. And it feels like it was forever ago. Yeah. And that's when I decided I'm gonna get my license. What am I gonna do indoors? Like, you know, I got my laptop. I signed up for courses. I paid it. I passed my exam, and that's how I got to real estate. Wow. It was weird. Like I was just like fed up. Yeah. At that point, like with all the doors being shut, and I was just like, I'm done. But you know, now looking back, I just see all those opportunities that I feel like I missed, and those doors being shut in my face. I feel like now they were just redirecting me. Yeah. Like it was just a redirection, and you know, it was. Backtrack to like, I think whenever I lived in Austin, I did have a few people ask me, are you in real estate? I was like, no, what makes you think I look like a realtor? Yeah. And they're like, no, I don't know. Like, you just seem like you can get the job done. And I'm like,
oh, thank you.
Okay, well, I'll take it as a compliment, but that was like when real estate was furthest from my mind. Wow. And I was so stuck on like, I want a fashion job. I want that like buyer job. Yeah. And I was just terca, like I wanted that. And, you know, there was a reason why not. So I think now that looking back at it, I'm like, man, like this, not that this is my calling, but you know, it was meant for me to get to this point, obviously. And I know the statistics, they say like if you don't make it the first 2 years, and I think it's for any business, if you don't make it past your second year, you're not going to make it. Yeah. So the fact that I'm here yay. I'm like so excited, and I'm so grateful for like everyone who has been in my path, like for real estate, my real estate career, that has helped me, that has like guided me, words of support and, you know, words of wisdom from people that I've met. And it's been great, but it's been quite the journey. It's only year 4.
Wow, that's amazing. Okay, so tell me, when did you get into NAN? Because getting into NAN, I know, is a big deal.
It is. And I was like, I can't believe I'm here. Yeah. So when I got to NAN, so I was my first brokerage, no shade to them or anything. Not everyone's ever going to fit into, it's not always for you, and that's
Yeah,
fine. So the first brokerage that sponsored me, COVID was still going on and stuff like that. So the office and the training sessions, obviously I was a new agent. I wanted all the training I could get. We're in Houston, so I would drive from Galveston to Houston to go to these trainings. And I personally just didn't see any value. And again, I'm not trying to be shady or anything.
Yeah.
Nothing was hitting for me. I was not understanding a thing. I was a brand new agent.
Yeah.
And there was many agents in that room that already had done like so many transactions, and there were like top producers, and they were talking a lingo that I'm like, I don't know what you are saying.
Yeah.
I don't understand it. I need help with contracts. Like I wanted more focused help. And so not even maybe 2-3 weeks in, I was like, I need to find something else. One of the things they did teach me is that, you need to do open houses. So they were like, call other agents and host their open houses. And I'm like, we can do that?
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. So I was cold calling agents, and they were like hanging up in my face. And I'm like, is this how it is? Because that is so mean. Like if I was an agent, I wouldn't just hang up on them. I'll just tell them, hey, like we just don't do that in our company, blah, blah, blah. And there were some agents that would take the time to explain it. So I was like, who's going to let me, And I called someone who had new construction, and he was kind of taken aback by me calling to host. And he was just like, how long have you been doing this? And I'm like, not long. He was like, I'm going to give your number to Amy. And I'm like, excuse me? He was like, I think you would really value the mentorship program she has. And this was Tentori Properties. So shout out to Amy. Yeah. She had a mentorship program, and I was like, okay, well, yeah. Met with Amy, and we clicked, and I was like, I really wanted a smaller boutique firm just so I won't feel like a little tadpole in a sea of like sharks,
I know some of these bigger agencies. I was just off the phone. I was like, oh, I work with this other person. They're like, I have no idea. We're in an office with 500 people.
Hundreds of them. And I could have gone to a Keller Williams or, what's a big agency, EXP or something like that. But I wanted, as a new agent, more one-on-one time and someone that I can like go to for these tough questions. And so I went ahead and I met with Amy, and we clicked, and I really liked it. And I started with them, and I really got along with everyone there, and it was a good time. I learned a lot. That's where I got my first listing. And then I saw that Nancy, because I was following Nancy on Instagram.
Yeah.
And I was trying to follow like big people on Instagram about real estate just so I can kind of see what they do.
Yeah, learn from the best.
Yeah.
Right?
And so I followed Nancy, and I saw that she posted that, we're moving to Galveston or something like that, like something along the lines of like, we're opening an office basically in Galveston. And I was like, oh my God, that's so awesome.
Because you were still living over there.
Yes. In Galveston, and I still do. And so I was like super cool, but I didn't DM her specifically saying, oh my God, I live there. Can I be an agent? I didn't say that. I just congratulated her. And on top of that, I was like, she's not going to DM me back. Yeah. Like she has thousands of followers. She's not going to DM me. And so I just DM'd her saying, congrats, welcome to the island, something like that. And then she was like, are you an agent? And I'm like, yeah, like super new though. Yeah. And she was like, let's set up a meeting. And I'm like, wow. What? And I was just like, no way. And so I was like, sure. Yeah. And I think I was like, honestly, maybe 5 months in. Yeah. And then I took the meeting. I'm here. I'm still with them. I love their marketing. I loved just everything that they have to offer. And I was just like, this is a no-brainer. Like, how am I going to say no to this? And so when I met up with Nadia, I told her, funny enough, can I think about it? She was like, sure. But I had to go to Mexico and see my family. And I was like, I'll give you an answer when I come back. And then obviously when I came back, I was like, yes, of course, of course. So I was really excited, and that's how it started with Nan. It was just from a DM.
Yeah.
Just from a
that's
DM.
crazy.
So you can never feel too nervous or hesitant about anything. I think people need to just go for it.
Yeah.
You just never know.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
We absolutely believe in the power of social media and the DMs. That's how we met you, right?
Yes.
Remember? Yeah.
I do. And that
Yeah.
is crazy how we met. Like,
Yeah.
you guys emailed me. I was like, this is too good to be true. Like, what?
Yes, it's so powerful.
It is.
And that's why we love, and I was asking you previously, like, how are you doing on your social media marketing? Because if you use it intentionally, and if you leave those comments on the right post, and you leave those DMs, and you seem like but you are putting yourself in another person's life.
Yeah. And you're
to
engaging
with them,
even
to
if they
build
don't
them
like
up,
respond or not, but you're still trying to engage.
And people love that because you're helping their post, right? Because it's getting more views, all that stuff. And I mean, it takes energy to put out a post. So if somebody can go and comment on it, that's awesome. That's awesome that somebody does that. So social media is a powerful way to not only get clients, but to stay connected with people. Of course, that's what the social part of it is.
Yeah, and your brand, once you have your brand, you're expanding.
Yeah.
And the outreach you get on social media is not what you can get with typical traditional ways of marketing.
Yes.
So one day you can post a TikTok video and you can go viral like that. I mean, I'm trying, but I think the most views I've gotten on my video has been like, I think 2,000. I was excited. I was excited.
Of course, I love that. Whenever people say things like that, I'm like, 2,000. When in the world are 2,000 people gonna come through your open house, or 2,000 people gonna come to a networking event and they're gonna see you and they're gonna see the value that you're bringing and who you are.
Yeah.
So
it's definitely
powerful.
It's very powerful. Yeah, for sure.
We just have to use it super intentionally, so we don't get stuck in the scroll, right? Yeah. Just scrolling, liking stuff, posting.
I'm drinking too much.
No, this is your first drink.
Yeah, awesome. I need water.
Yes.
There's nothing in there. Okay.
There's nothing in there.
No,
you want water?
Just no. As in like liquor. There's no liquor in there. I know I'm an agent, but there's no liquor in there. Just water.
I'm like, do I need to refill that?
I thought you were gonna like offer, like, do you want tequila or something? Like, wait, hold on, I gotta drive back.
That's too funny. Okay. Yeah. So tell me about some of your goals, maybe for this year, for the next year. We're in March right now. For everybody listening, this is gonna come out around the mid March 2024.
Well, I guess short term, I think I mentioned this to you. I am trying my best to put myself out there in terms of networking. So in Galveston, I wish there was more networking events for our industry, but obviously it's all here in Houston. So I'm trying this year to go to more of those events and go meet more people in the industry and connect with more agents from other places and other agencies and other lenders, whoever is there. I just want to connect with more people and maybe learn a thing or two from other people too. Because
I was about to ask, like, what's the value in networking with other agents? Because I know there's a lot of competition between agents, but tell me about that.
It's funny because some people can be very competitive. I'm competitive, but with myself.
Yeah.
Because in this industry, like, you can't really necessarily burn your bridges. You need to make a deal, and guess what? You need the other agent to like you to make that deal happen and be smoothly. And so I have never had that like feeling of ever like, dissing an agent or wanting to not work with them. I did have one unfortunate situation with an agent that he is blacklisted in my mind. But obviously, if I have to work with him, I will do my best to work with him. But that's the thing. You can't do certain things to people and then expect not to be treated a good way when you're acting a certain way. So I don't think of agents as being my competition. I see them as just honestly opportunities to learn from them, especially if there's top producers and they're doing really well. I want to see, okay, what are you doing that I'm not doing?
Yeah.
And I would like to like obviously talk to them, get to know them and see what they do that's differently from me and their approach. But the competition really for me is within. It's just me.
Yeah.
Like I have
Wow.
to push myself. I have to do better. And what am I doing that, is not allowing me to grow? So it's a lot of like self-reflection in your business, and that's where I see it. But I know some
I
people can
love
be
it.
very
Let's put together
competitive.
a networking event out there in
Oh, I
Galveston.
know.
Let's do it.
I know it's hard because some people are like, "Oh my God, Galveston, that's so
Yeah.
far," and I'm like, guys, like. Houston is an hour away from Houston too.
Yes,
Like, I mean, if you
Yes.
guys go to like networking events like in Katy and you live in the middle of the inner loop, like that's
Yeah.
like an
It's
hour
still
drive
so
with the
far.
traffic.
Yes.
So I think it would be fun if we can get more people out there in
For
Galveston. There's a
sure.
lot Galveston has to offer for sure.
Yeah, and there's so much business constantly, year after year. Like,
Yes.
yes, there are slow seasons because it's an island, the short-term rentals, all that stuff, but there's
Yes.
constant people going there
And new
and
people. It's crazy. Like every time I meet someone, I always ask them where they're from because it's Galveston. They're
yeah.
not going to be from there. I'm from there. I know who's from there.
Yeah.
So I'm like, you don't strike me as someone from here. So where are you from?
Yeah.
And they tell me like, it's usually Northerners, like, New York. I get people from South Dakota, from Michigan, from
Wow.
Idaho, all
Yeah.
these places. And I'm like, why do y'all come here?
Yeah.
And they're either going to say they know someone that lives in Houston or they have family nearby. They've visited before. They either go to the cruises and they
Yes.
visited before. And they always tell me the same thing, that they like the history of it and they like the people. They're like, you guys are really nice. Like we've
Aw,
never
that's awesome.
have had an incident where people are rude here or like, something bad has
Yeah.
happened. So that's why they visit. I mean, I know the joke is always like, ugh, like Gal's Beach is not cute.
Yeah.
Of course not. We're not Florida. We're not Bali. We're not trying to be Miami or anything like that. But, Galveston has gone through a renaissance, especially after COVID. And I think the marketing for Galveston, if you go to their social media, is doing a fantastic job.
Yay.
But it's just blown up. I don't know if people are just now realizing, oh, this has always been here.
Yeah.
We can easily just drive an hour and come here and enjoy the day.
Yeah.
And we have really great days. We really do. We have some really nice weather. And then sometimes we have really good coastal breeze like today.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my God, it's so sunny. Before getting here, I honestly wanted to lay on my hammock and take a nap. Like
That
it
is
was,
something
like,
that you
amazing.
can't do on this side of Houston. You
It
can't
gets
take
hot
an-
over here, man.
It gets hot. It's humid. Over there you have the beautiful coastal
You get
breeze.
coastal breeze. You
And
really
I
do.
get it. The water is not blue and you can't see you can't.
We have good days though. We have really good days.
Yes, good days.
Raul has seen them.
Yes.
Yeah.
And no, it's the whole, like the island as a whole, the restaurants, the, like you mentioned,
Oh,
the
the good
historical
food, man.
place, the good food. It's a beautiful place to be, especially
Considering how small it is.
Yeah.
Like we're an hour from Houston. So if you really want to come into the city, you can. And that's one of the reasons why I live in Galveston, because I could still come to Houston, hang out with my friends, go to all the things that I want to go to in Houston. And I'm okay with driving back an hour. It's not a big deal for me. The food over there, considering how small we are so diverse in food. And I think it has to do a lot with Houston, because Houston's such a diverse
Yeah.
city. And I love that we're like 45 minutes away. We really have like, oh man, sushi, Mexican food,
Yeah.
Salvadorian, Honduran, great seafood, obviously, steakhouses. We have really high level like steakhouses and just a lot of everything that you can find. Like, and I never have a day where I'm like, I'm like, what am I gonna eat? Like,
Yeah.
I have a hard decision making up my mind, because I'm like, I want to go here, I want to go there, and I'm surprised I'm not bigger than what I am, because like the food is good.
Yeah.
The food is good for sure.
It's a beautiful place to be, especially what type of people do you see that are owning homes over there?
So other than the locals that primarily live there, which is starting to shrink, unfortunately, because the prices are getting higher. So affordability is obviously an issue. But other than that, the typical buyer is someone who is looking to have a house to vacation when they're here and Airbnb when they're gone, right? So it's kind of like their investment property. So we're seeing that more and more. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, there was a statistic saying there was over 5,000 Airbnbs in Galveston that are single family homes, not including the condos, not including like other types of housing, just single family. Yeah, over 5,000.
That's amazing.
So I think it's good and bad. Obviously there's always like this, constant struggle between that fine line of like when is it too much? We have locals that, of course, are starting to get upset. We don't want Airbnbs like in our neighborhood, blah, blah, blah. And then there's the side that, people are like, this brings more people to the island. It, boosts the economy there. But, there's a lot of sides to it. And I think at some point there will be maybe a cap, maybe. I know there's some neighborhoods that are kind of trying to rally together and ask the city to no longer allow people to Airbnb there, like Tiki Island, for example. Tiki Island, if you don't know where it is, it's that small island right before you get to Galveston. So you exit before you cross the causeway. And Tiki Island is a man-made island, believe it or not. And it's just like little channels.
Yeah.
And it's just amazing. All canals. It's crazy. But Tiki Island does not allow Airbnbs. There's only like 2 or 3 houses that are grandfathered in that are allowed to Airbnb their house. But they rallied together and they were like, nope, we don't want only because it's a small island. I can understand like why they don't want too many people in and out, I guess. But there's certain neighborhoods you cannot, Airbnb. And that is one thing for agents to know too, because sometimes some people get into a transaction not knowing that, hey, you can't Airbnb here. And then, and that's where the local knowledge of that, if the agent's an expert, you would want someone from there for specific things, but it happens. I know that, some agents don't know and, they get into a transaction where unfortunately you cannot rent out the place, but
that's tough.
It's for them to figure out.
Yeah, for sure.
That's why you hire me.
Yes. Hi, Zuleima. Awesome. I love it. Okay. So tell me to just wrap it up. What is something that you would tell yourself as a new agent?
Save more money. It's really looking back. I think and specifically me, I would tell myself to put yourself out there more. Like, just don't be afraid to really you got to say hello to the people you don't want to say hello to. You got to get up and make conversation. If you're an introvert, this is going to be very hard, but you got to just put yourself out there.
Wow.
Because if you're not your biggest cheerleader, then who is? Like, you really, it sounds so sad, but if you really have to boost yourself, you really have to like make yourself do these things that are uncomfortable, because if you don't, how are they going to find you?
Yeah.
Who's going to know you're an agent? If you don't post, if you don't call, if you don't, go and shake their hand and get into a conversation, they are never going to know you're an agent.
Wow.
Unless you put it on your head. But I mean, we're not going to do that, because they're going to be like, I'm not hiring the girl that has agent across her forehead. So
but don't be that secret agent.
Yes, the secret agent.
Especially if you have the knowledge, you have the experience, you're willing to work hard for those buyers or those sellers. Like, show them that you are there to help them out with this.
I think the passion will shine through. And I think that's one thing that has really helped me, is that since I live in Galveston, born and raised and everything, I became passionate about showing people like this side of Galveston as a local. And people that of course are coming to buy, they're not from there. They don't understand it. Maybe they live in a neighborhood like, I don't know, Cinco Ranch or something that is just master plan communities. The houses in Galveston are so unique and different. They're on pier and beam. They look like beach houses. Some of them are historic. They have a lot of charm and character, and it can be a little scary for people who have never had an older house, that you're literally buying. If you're buying a historic house, you're buying a house that more likely has been there since before 1900. Can you believe it? Like,
that's crazy.
It's crazy. So if you're not knowledgeable in that, like, it can be very scary for that buyer to come into it, right? So when I show the potential buyer, like everything we have to offer, all the different types of homes you can find here in Galveston, they see my passion shine through, and they're like, wow, we like the fact that you know so many little things about Galveston that, it makes them feel like they're seeing a place that they never thought they would see if they went with someone else who wasn't from there, for example. So I really pride myself in that. I really want to show everyone, not only the neighborhoods, I want to show them where you go and eat. Let's meet up at a coffee shop. Like that way you can see like this part of town that maybe you never even gone. Because so many people go straight to the beach and then they're gone. So they never go and explore.
Yeah.
So
that was our life for 20 plus years.
I have friends from Houston that they're like, we only used to go to East Beach or something and then go straight home.
Ours was, what is it, Stewart Beach?
Yeah.
It was
and then
like
go back
straight
home.
to that one.
Go eat somewhere and go back.
Keep driving along until you find a parking spot.
And so I've shown a few places in Galveston, some hidden gems to a few of my previous clients that they're like, man, like this is super cool. Like, thank you so much for showing us this. And I'm like, yeah, there's just so much more than just, of course, the beach. But
I love that. I love that. Okay, so tell me something else you would tell yourself as a new agent. You have several things on here. You already talked about doing more outreach and putting yourself out there. What can you tell me about student loan debt?
Why did I put that? I think, was that really?
And not using my degree.
Well, I mean, if you really know what you want to do, and it doesn't have to do with getting a college degree, don't get it. Like, I feel like not that it was a waste of time. I have really fond memories at Texas State. I've met the people that I love very much that I met there. So it was never anything that I regret. But I think for anyone who's coming into real estate that, if you want to do a real estate job, you don't need a college degree.
Like if they're young and seeing these things.
You don't need that college degree to be a real estate agent. And if you're certain, just become a real estate agent and go full throttle. Don't accumulate student debt because it sucks.
And then you can't buy your first home whenever you want.
That debt to income ratio. That DTI, you got to keep it low.
Okay, to wrap it up, I already said to wrap it up. We're going to keep wrapping it up. But spring break season is coming up.
Oh, I know.
And then we blink and we open our eyes and then it's summertime.
Yes.
Tell us some things that us outsiders can expect. What are the best places to go? What can we expect as in terms of, I don't know if there's any parties, market, like maybe just lifestyle type of things. Like if I want to go vacation or if I'm...
Yeah. So we already have an influx of people, by the way, in Galveston, a ton. And, we have another Carnival cruise Jubilee there.
Oh,
Gwen Stefani was in Galveston the other day. Yes, to promote Carnival Jubilee. And I was so upset because I was in Houston when that happened. It was this past Friday.
That's crazy.
And I was like, oh my God, Gwen Stefani is here. What? But we've had an influx of people, obviously for spring break. I mean, there's so many festivals coming up in Galveston. There's food festivals. There's a bird festival. If you're a big bird watcher, I know we have a big aviary scene over there.
No way, that's cool.
And then there's also, of course, the beach, Schlitterbahn, Moody Gardens, all of these places that you can take the kiddos, museums, and the farmers market I believe every Sunday. Nice. And like I said, Galveston has a page, like the city page, and they list all of those festivals for you and all the events going on. But it is definitely busy.
Yeah.
So if you're able to come maybe I think during the week is better than the weekend. Obviously, the weekend is when most people can come. But there's such good food, guys. Brunch. You'll have to go to Sunflower Cafe, Shy Cats.
Cafe, okay.
Shy Cats.
What do they serve there? Brunch?
It's brunch. It's just like American fare, and it's just home cooking. Yeah. It feels like you're at someone's house, and they're super sweet. So Shy Cats is one of my favorite restaurants there. And there's just so much to do. I don't know if I even said anything. There's just so much. But let's see. I'm trying to think. Paragliding, People,
paragliding.
is that a thing?
Ooh.
Paragliding? Is that the word? I've been seeing more and more people
like it's
doing
like
that.
A parachute, but they're sitting down. People are sitting down
Or on
and
their
a boat.
surfboard. Yeah.
Okay.
Some of them are surfing and doing that, or some of them are being pulled.
Water activities, a bunch of water activities.
Oh, of course.
For sure.
Yeah. Pleasure Pier. I mean, everyone goes to Pleasure Pier, and yeah, there's just tons, and the market is heating up, which is good for Galveston, because we were a little stagnant. Houston's always been stable, which it's always been such a great city, because again, like the prices are great and people need to live here, right?
Yeah.
Versus Galveston is more of a secondary market. So a lot of people are buying as an investment or as an Airbnb. So it's not necessarily a need.
Yeah.
So we're a little stagnant, but it's heating up. People are coming. People are now starting to look at the market and look at the houses available.
What recommendations can you give for somebody that's just looking into there? What would be some first steps that they should do?
I think definitely outline their reason why they want to move there. So if the reason is for just to vacation, you don't need to Airbnb it. Really think about what you want in a home. So like, do you want to be beachside? Do you enjoy the historic part of Galveston? Do you like the East End? There's quite a bit of little areas in Galveston that have a completely different vibe. And I think people need to research what exactly they want from being there. And that will help kind of shape where you want to go.
Yeah.
And then also it kind of definitely price point, obviously, like, you know, average price right now in Galveston, believe it or not, is $500,000. Okay. That's the average list price. And then figure out, you know, how hands-on do you want to be with this house? Like if this is going to be your second home or vacation and you're not going to be here that many days of the year and it's going to be vacant, or you put it on the Airbnb market, that's fine. But you got to remember, we do get some severe weather, and, you know, do you want a house? Do you want to maintain a house? Do you want a historic house with all the little, you know, quirks that it comes with? Or do you want a lock and leave lifestyle? Get a condo, you know, you don't have to worry much about with condos. Yeah. But with all of that, of course, always reach out to a local agent. And obviously I'm here to help you every step of the way.
Yes.
So
I love that. Well, thank you, Zuleima. It has been amazing.
This has been great.
Yes.
Yeah. I can't shut up. I want to keep going.
Okay, go. What are some last words?
No. Oh my gosh. Yeah. No, this has been great, Melanie. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for being on the podcast. And don't forget to subscribe and listen to the next episode.